And welcome to September 20th, 2018. I'm Chris McCleary with your daily surf report. And if you're feeling like you are in the middle of a stadium or in the boxing ring today and all the lights and the cameras are focused on you and everybody's watching, it's a competition day. If it feels like that, then that means that you are probably under the influence, the collective influence. This is the collective influence report and forecast. We're looking for the biggest influence that might be affecting the way you think, feel, and behave. Don't forget to subscribe before we get started. And we've got some unbelievable news. Let's just get right to it. We're going to start with the DreamBot. And I've got this black arrow up to the top. And I promise you, I'm not making this up. It's too coincidental to be a coincidence, okay? The first word is swing, and well, let me just show you. I wasn't planning on advertising this, but I'm no kidding. I'm speaking at the University of Arkansas later today at 3 p.m. about my new model of higher achievement, higher living. It's called the Inspirational Achievement Model. I am too, and it's all based on a life swing, right? This little pendulum here is called the life swing. How much swing do you have? And that's why I'm proposing that bipolar folks can switch. If they do this right, they can switch from having a curse to having a gift. And again, I was not planning on advertising this, but it's all based on how well you swing, and I'm going to be talking about it later today. And so there you go. Let's talk about the DreamBot. I was floored when I saw that swing there up at the top. So that's later today. If you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, please stop in. I'll see you at 3 p.m. Carnell Hall at the University of Arkansas. It'll be a great time. And this model is not just for bipolar folks, although I'm proposing that they can do this model naturally better, and therefore they have a gift. And this gift is all about higher creativity, more life satisfaction. And look at that, I forgot to turn on my light behind me. Oh well. Look at the red arrows. The red arrows are all about competition. Be thinking competition throughout this. Swing, block, pitch, scene, competition, camera, scene and camera, you're being seen in this. Obtain a successful, achieve, team, seat, lose, watch, and accumulated points, whatever. But it's all competition. And so notice here that communication and all that stuff that we have been seeing in the past few days, all that's gone. I think completely. It's completely gone. And so I'm thinking that the collective mind was accurately projecting this Mercury conjunct moon. Mercury conjunct sun. Geez, mind on the ball, not the case. This is the downside of Mercury. It's an example of a downside of Mercury conjunct Sun, because what they're calling it is called Mercury gets burned. And when Mercury gets burned, it's almost like saturation. It's like too much Mercury. Too much in this case would be thinking, too much communication, too many thoughts, too heavy of thinking. And so watch that. If you have racing thoughts or you're just saturated, it'd be a great time to just relax and breathe. But that can kind of feel like a competition because, hey, let's face it, you're not the only one who's facing Mercury conjunct Sun. Everyone else is too. Now everyone gets affected slightly different depending on their astrological makeup and their personality and how much sleep they got and what they ate, all these other choices, okay? But that could feel like a competition. Then we have Saturn, quintile, Neptune, which is generally a positive aspect, but it's an opportunity for change because the competition part in here is that Neptune is not real. It's like all the fantasy, the inner sanctum stuff, and Saturn is. Did I say Saturn? I meant Neptune, but Saturn is the material ideal part of this, and they're vying for, or they're in harmony now. They're not in competition, but it kind of could feel like a competition because you're melding these two opposites together. But it's a great time to manifest your heart's desire. It's a great time to figure out whether or not those desires are ideal and right for you. And if so, great time to manifest those, especially with the Sun and Mercury getting magnified there. We also have Moon in Aquarius. Well, it's just past Mars, so we talked about that a little bit yesterday. But that's still kind of a conjunction, more of in the early hours of today. So that's some more competition there. And then to top it all off, you have 20. Overwhelming emotions in self and others. Great. And when you have emotions all over the place, that automatically feels like you're in the boxing ring. It feels like you're in a competition, especially when everyone's emotional. So we're vying for whose emotion is the most important, or the one that we're going to talk about first, and it turns out probably the loudest one, or the one that has the worst or most scrunched up face, is the one who gets the limelight. Well, let's talk about how to surf this, and we'll go ahead and do that now. And again, thanks for being here. I really appreciate all your support. We're headed towards a time when you could get caught up in this unconsciously, in all this competition, and it's an illusion. And that's what I wanted to hopefully project to you today, that it's largely an illusion in a way, but in another way, it's a great emphasis on moving forward. If you kind of play the game correctly, you can kind of take a step back and observe yourself playing this game, you along with everyone else. If you're in the influence, it kind of feels like everyone else is watching. And so play along with it. You become part of the stadium and watch yourself, not in some weird, freaky way, but and not nitpicky way, but in a way that enhances, and with compassionate eyes, and encouraging yourself to do better, or communicate better, or speak your truth, or learn. And that's the other secret today. If it feels overwhelming, so if you have that Mercury conjunct Sun sort of burn feeling, where you have racing thoughts or heavy thoughts, or it's just so foggy, there's so many thoughts in there, it's hard to make heads or tails of which is the right, then a great way to spin that on its tail very quickly is just to learn, become curious, force your mind to become curious. So you go to the other spectrum of the Mercury aspect, which is learning. So learning and communicating are two different things. They're breathing. It's like inhaling and exhaling. You can't do both. Well, most people can't do both at the same time. But if you force your mind into learning mode, then it automatically slows the thoughts down. It's becoming curious. And so that's a great technique. Another technique, if you're having this burn feeling and the competition feeling, is to come back to reality, because all this is just a fantasy. It's not, well, I mean, for you it might be real. You might have it real. You might be put into a real competitive situation, and that's a little bit different. But if this is all just in your head, then come back to reality. And you can do that by opening your five senses. We did this yesterday in one of my classes, where someone was starting to have a panic attack, and I brought her back into the present moment by opening the five senses. I asked her to touch the table. I asked her to describe what she felt. And you could see her de-escalating and then re-escalating and de-escalating. You can see exactly when her mind starts to wander back to the panic. And it's not trickery. This is having better discipline of the mind. And it takes practice to stay in the now, but it's a very important skill on a day like today. And then awareness is the other key. You have to be aware that you are not here. You have to be aware that you're in this fake competition over in the mind, and you got to have the wherewithal to come back. So and my whole point is, on a day-to-day basis, you have to practice being aware. And then we go back to being the observer. That's the observer. It's not a judgment thing. It's not a, hey, I should have done better, and you're just a horrible person for this. It's not a nitpicker person, this observer. The observer, it is what it is. Words just are, and your actions just are. And of course we can get better, but if you're not aware of your actions, you can't get better. You can't. It's impossible. So we need awareness, and then knowledge about how to get back to reality. But the good thing is, the competition, if you use it wisely, if you use it right, you can accelerate your life today. You can get your goals done. You can hit it out of the park. You've got the energy there to do it. You've got a lot of great aspects. So go do it. Go use your yang and go do. But if you find yourself maxed out with that Mercury conjunct Sun, pull back, learn, come back to now, come back to reality for a while, breathe, relax, purposely take a break, and then go back into it. That's all about my swing. And we'll be talking about our IM2 swing periodically. If you want to look that up, that's chrismccleary.com. It's a brand new website, so I'm still trying to build it. I'll build it a little bit more today. It's going to be replacing that Project Comine thing, just because there's so many different projects that I've got on the burner, and I want a place that it applies to everything. And I thought chrismccleary.com would be perfect. I can put anything in there, so I don't have to have separate websites for all these different projects. So you'll be seeing that multiply and populate, and then contact me from there if you want to get a hold of me. Thanks for all your support, and I hope you have a great competitive day. Take care.